This is the Bear Country Outdoors Barely a Podcast. I'm your host, Doug Joyce, and with me is James Forsland and Chris Cantrell. Thanks for joining.
Podcast night, ladies and gentlemen. We are here doing another one, and we are going to talk about a whole lot of different things tonight.
An assorted amount of subjects.
So, the Washington draws just came out. And...
Which it's usually not you. It's usually...
yeah.
Wah, wah, wah.
But this year, the boys, other than me, drew some stuff.
Yeah! After
Stone cold!
After 22 years of points built up, actually, I'd been putting in for the same unit for 24 years, but I lost 2 points in the early years on a stupid doe tag. So I had 22 years of points built up and finally drew my number one choice quality deer tag in the rut in November for mule deer.
Bam!
Bam!
You!
Finally. I never thought it would happen. I honestly didn't. I thought I was going to die an old man with 100 points or whatever the max is.
Congratulations, Jim. You finally drew it in your prime.
In my prime, too.
Hell, I'm in my prime.
And Chris, he drew a tag, too.
I drew a buck tag, yeah. Not a quality tag, but I got a
as
good...
close as you can get to a quality
I got a
tag
good
in the
buck
buck
tag,
category.
What was funny is Chris told me, I was like, what unit did you draw? And he's like, I don't fucking know. People just told me to put in for this one.
Yeah. Oh, I told him to put in for that unit.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a good unit. And so he's like, yeah, he told me the unit. I'm like, dude, that's a great tag.
Yeah.
It's like basically a quality deer tag.
I'm just like you, you know, I got 20 points and everything, so it's just like, what am I going to get? I'm never going to get drawn, you know. The state knows that we hate their guts.
I can't believe we drew tags.
Yeah. And they're like, no. And then, but I didn't tell you guys this part. You guys don't know about this part.
No.
Should I tell it? Should I tell the people?
If it's appropriate, go for it.
So there I was.
There I was.
If you said I bribed someone with $1,000, then don't say it out loud.
No. So the reason I don't think I'm ever going to get drawn is because, you know, us as a company have facilitated a lot of pushback against the State Fish and Game Commission because it's full of terrible, terrible thieving people. Right.
Which we'll get into more.
Yeah, in which we've
I think we've touched base on that just about every
just once or
podcast.
twice, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're already doing illegal stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
So what would stop them from somehow getting into the system and being like, oh well, Doug, nope, I don't think so. James,
Absolutely.
Chris, Naga, not gonna get drawn for a tag. So I was really surprised when I clicked on it and it said selected, right? And I'm super jazzed. And I'm just like, I screenshot it right away. I'm texting you boys. I'm all excited. And then I get an email from State Fish and Game.
Oh, you got one of those emails?
And the email says, hey, the draws are out. Too bad you didn't get drawn for anything. Like, better luck next year.
Did it really?
Swear to God. I have a screenshot. I'll show you from the email.
I better go in and check my wife and my daughters then because I got that same email for them. I didn't even check theirs.
Yeah. So I got an email that said I didn't get drawn for anything. And I'm like, oh, shit, you know.
Yeah.
But then like a couple of days later, I did get an email that said, hey, you got drawn for this unit. But the first email I got was like, hey, Chris, tough luck. Better luck next year.
Yeah. I better go in and check and make sure.
Dude, so I was
I didn't even look at the email.
Dude, I'm telling you, freaking.
What good is it going to do me?
I was like, Lorna got in there and butt hugged me.
I didn't get drawn for
yeah,
shit.
they're like,
anyway.
oh, James said he actually got drawn. Deleted.
Mm-hmm.
I screenshot it because I was like, I got to have evidence of this.
Dude, me too.
Yeah.
Totally. And then I was like, they're totally going to take this away from me.
Oh, dude, I'd take him to court.
Oh, it would hurt my feelings so bad. It would hurt my feelings. Well, you know, like we got 2 decades of putting in.
Yeah.
You know, and you just like, you know, you almost feel bad.
I had heard that, though. Like, a couple people said that, like, hey, there's, like, some shenanigans going on, kind of like last year when everything got completely messed up.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I got nothing.
Okay.
Eeyore says, wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
So I did get drawn. I did get an email saying I didn't get drawn, but then I got an email saying that I got drawn. So, which is par for the course with our perfectly run state fish and game.
Why do they have to make it so gut-wrenching for people? You know?
I don't know, dude. They like to play with my emotions. They know.
Yeah, I better check for my family too, because I just got emails from.
That would be a good topic.
For Tiffany
what's
too.
the best fish and game commission in the United States?
Oh.
Which one has it figured out?
Ooh, that's a good question, Doug.
That is a good question. Will
Because
we
it
put in
seems
for
like-
multiple states?
It seems like a lot of them are just shit shows.
Yeah.
Like, because, I was looking at stuff for Hawaii because I'm going to be going there
Right.
later this year. And
It's still there. It still says win.
woo!
I'm taking another screenshot just in case.
I will tell you, Doug, that Montana got a lot better because they did something electronic, something or other, which they had a couple snafus. But one of the things I absolutely freaking hate, and it doesn't make any sense to me, is we'll put in for multiple states. So I put in for, Alaska and Wyoming and Montana and Idaho and all these states. And so we'll touch on Idaho, how they're changing their system. But Montana had gone to an electronic system, and their turnaround time was much quicker, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, when I put in for Wyoming and I have to wait however many months and months and months it is to find the results, why? That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's all electronic now.
Yeah, everything's in the database.
Yeah.
Dude, roll them out the next day so we can plan the year out. Like, don't wait.
Right. I get the idea of like maybe take a week to make sure that everything went correctly.
Right.
During the process.
But not
like,
months.
It shouldn't take months. No. And even Washington, like I think this was honestly one of the fastest turnarounds that we've had ever.
Because, they ended that at the
It was
end
on
of last
the end
month?
of the month, yeah.
Yeah.
It was supposed to go to usually goes to the 20th.
Yeah,
but
I think it went to the
extended
31st.
it to like the 31st,
Yeah.
or the 30th or something.
Yeah, that's only 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's the shortest that we've ever had.
Yeah.
And then last year it took longer. It was like I want to say it was like 3 weeks for them to get it to us. And then they realized after the fact, after they sat on it for 3 weeks, that, hey, we messed up the entire system worth of draws, which may or may not have benefited for me, or maybe I just got screwed out of my tag, and they're like, oh, we'll get you next year, bud.
Right.
Who knows? But, I mean, it's awesome, though.
I just don't get the ones that take, like, months and months and months. It doesn't make any sense. And then some of them, like...
Especially after they end.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like...
Because it's like, it's automatic.
For instance, Wyoming elk, right? So you have to put in like, I think it's January, the end of January. And like, I just found out, like, whatever, a month ago, a couple weeks ago.
And it's not like someone goes through and, like, randomly picks one.
No, there's
It's
not
all
a guy.
There's not an old guy rolling a bunch of balls and grabbing them out of there.
It's all automated. You know,
Yeah.
it's all computerized. And
Yeah.
it's like, why should it take that long?
This is totally off topic, but have you ever seen the way that Maine does their moose draw?
No.
They do it like that.
No way.
Swear to God, everyone like gets in a giant warehouse. And I'm not kidding you, like the whole town. And then they do like
Really?
oh, your number, blah, 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 blah.
Like bingo?
Yeah, pretty much bingo. Some old guy jumps up, hell yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Well, I guess, but then it's different because you can defer your win to other family members.
No way. Mm-hmm. Dude, that's rad.
As if I'm incorrect on that, and you know that, call us out on it. And
Yeah.
Make a comment.
Yeah.
But that's what I understand their system. I wish we could do that, dude. That would be awesome.
I feel like there's a more sinister reason behind the timeline on some of them, because some states like Montana and Wyoming, like, so for my Wyoming elk tag, I had to pay like $1,800 and something to put in for like the preferred tag.
Yeah.
And then they held that money all that time.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure they put into some sort of an account, which
Got
garnered
pissed
interest.
away, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Well, they made interest on it, right? They made money on my money, right? That's how money works,
Oh, that would be very interesting. Wouldn't
right?
it?
So, how much monies are the states bringing in from holding my money for months and months and months? And I think they send it back. I haven't got any money back yet. That would be
Usually
nice.
it comes in like a check, right?
Yeah, but it's like, so I spent all that money. Same with Montana, like by the time I'm done with the big game combo and the special draws, everything, it's $2,000 every year.
Yeah.
And then they send some of it. They don't send all of it back, They take processing fees and stuff like that. But then what are they doing with the money in the meantime? They got millions and millions of dollars sitting in this account. How many people put in? 50,000 people or something. That's a lot. That's a lot of money.
Put it in an account to gain interest on.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know.
That would be interesting to find out.
Yeah. If you're a bean counter or a nerd on the internet, let us know. I'd be curious to find out. There's some guy on his computer typing away right now. He's like, carry the 3 minus the 2.
Well, according to my calculations, Ben, we should be able to make $2.3 million in interest on this $50 million we've collected.
Who knows? Yeah.
Let's hold it for another month. That's another $1 million.
Dude, I bet they have to.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure that
pretty
there's a
messed up,
lot of
though.
states where they don't.
Yeah.
They don't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still got so we've already found out about Montana, right?
Yep. No Montana.
No Montana. Wyoming was a no-go.
Was a no-go on Wyoming, yeah.
Washington, both of us drew some good tags,
Yep.
which for some reason I had it stuck in my head. I'm going to draw a moose tag. I'm going to draw a quality deer tag. I'm going to get a bull tag. I was happy to get a tag.
Yeah, me too.
Right? Like, I'm going through.
Why do you think that, Jim? You think that every year. I'm going to draw all my tags.
I think because I really thought I was going to draw something this year. And usually, like the last 5 years, I haven't thought I was going to draw anything. I'm just like, it's just going to be like every other year. And I tried a new
you draw all your
technique.
tags, Jim. You might as well just get a divorce.
I willed. I know, right? Maybe that's what I'm counting on, Doug. I don't know.
Dude.
I willed this tag into existence because I was trying to be positive.
Yeah.
I shifted my mindset from usually like, I guess I'm not going to get anything again probably, to I'm getting a tag this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then for some reason I thought because I was getting in my mind, I thought I'm getting a tag.
Right.
I thought it's going to be like when it rains, it pours. And I'm going to be like, shit. I got too many tags, and I got to figure out how to balance my life around these tags. That's like, honestly, it sounds like a nightmare, but that's kind of my dream. Like
just to get everything.
Just to have a year when that happens.
It happened to me last year. I missed a hunt last year. It's the first time it's ever happened in
yeah, because you
25
piled it
years
all
of
on.
hunting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. And I had won a draw in Alaska, and I couldn't make it for black bear. And it was a killer tag.
Yeah.
And it just couldn't between Argentina South Africa.
Africa.
Yeah. And a bunch of other hunts and work. I came home and my wife's just like,
You got to quit going to Africa, Chris.
I did. I haven't even been there this year. I did go to Argentina and Texas.
Yeah.
Potato, tomato,
Potato, potato.
You traded up.
Yeah, I am going to. I did get drawn for Alaska.
For spring.
In this year's draw in 2025, but it's for a 2026 tag because Alaska runs their season like June to June or July to July, whatever. It's middle of the year to middle of the year. So
It's going to be badass, though.
it's going to be so cool.
I'm excited about that.
I'm super excited.
Because I'm going. And I've already told you that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Doug's going to go too.
Doug's probably going to go too, I guess.
Look at Doug. He's like,
Sure.
I guess I'll get a divorce with you guys.
I don't know. We've been switching up the spring hunts, so we've been like kind of alternating.
Yeah.
Like we did. You went up to Alberta.
Yeah.
And then I did Idaho one year, and then me and Doug did Montana this year, and last year we did the Quinault.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go back to Alaska.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're going to do a spring hunt every year.
Yeah.
I love Alaska.
I've never been to that part of Alaska.
It's incredible.
I've never hunted spring bear in Alaska.
The fishing is incredible. Like, it's just a very unique hunt because, like, if you have the means to, and it's not cheap. Like last time I was there, I rented a boat, $700 a day to rent a boat. That's not a cheap thing to do.
No.
But you can fish and bear hunt at the same time, which is freaking wild, right? You're just like, I cut 110 pound halibut trolling
While you were bear hunting.
while I was bear hunting.
Yeah.
In a spot where my buddy had a gun malfunction, but long story short, we pulled up to the beach and he could have I mean, the bear wasn't that far. It was like 100 yards or something, but he shoots. Gun problem. Long story short, we didn't get that bear, but like I caught a halibut like 150 yards from that spot.
Yeah.
Off the beach.
That's pretty cool.
Dude, it's rad. It's such a freaking cool place. I can't wait to go back.
Dude, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I think
catch a
hunting that way
110-pound halibut. How are we going to get in the boat? I'm not going to have bang sticks or anything.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Would you guys wrestle it into the boat?
No,
or what?
shot it in the face with a judge. With a 45 right off the side of an aluminum boat. Boom! That was Dave. Dude, Dave literally.
Dude, that's smart. If you don't got a good enough gaff or
Yeah.
harpoon.
Yeah, just had a judge right on the boat.
Yeah.
Because Dave's like 6'7", and he's got
It's the
like
next best thing.
8-foot long arms. He literally just reaches over top of me and just goes boom, and shoots the thing in the head. And I was like, oh, that's the way to do her.
Yeah.
No fight left. Let's pull her in the boat.
Blows the line off. Damn
Oh,
it!
dude. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
so
give it
funny.
the hooker first.
Yeah. Oh, we had tail rope stuff, but still, it was rodeo.
Dude, that's awesome.
It was rodeo. Yeah, a lot of fun.
So we're going to do that?
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Okay.
It's gonna be
All
sweet.
right, that sounds awesome.
Catching halibut,
Yeah.
catching salmon.
Yeah. Because we
Catching crab. We can throw some crab pots off.
we got drawn for 3 tags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far.
So far.
I still have my feelers out for Idaho
Okay.
because I put in for some of the special hunts in Idaho. So I have
And
a possible elk tag and a possible deer tag.
I think technically we put in for.
And then raffles. I still have a handful of raffles.
We have a
out
bunch
there.
of raffles, and we also have that deal. Remember when we were in Utah, we put in for that Montana hunt.
Oh, yeah, for the super tag.
Yeah, we'll have to check that. That wasn't a super tag. That was a different tag.
It was a
Governor's
the
tag.
governor's mule deer tag for
Yeah.
any unit in Montana.
We'll have to figure that out.
Yeah,
I forgot that we bought that.
I forgot that too.
Yeah.
I wonder when that draw is.
Well, you better get to looking.
I bought a bunch of raffles in Idaho, and I think did they already do the raffles for Montana? I bought some Montana ones too. I bought like
I don't know when the super tag drawing is, and I should have looked that up.
I bought some of the Montana ones, and I bought some of the Idaho ones.
I think they do those later, if I remember correctly.
That's what I thought too. We'll have to double check that.
Yeah.
So there's still a chance that we might have more tags on the table.
Yeah.
There's still that chance for that extra layer of divorce, Doug. We joke about it every year, but honestly, like
So bad.
our old ladies are pretty good about letting us get out.
Oh, yeah.
So it says, I don't have my glasses, I can't see shit. Super tag drawing in Montana is
Your
held.
glasses are right in front of you, too, by
and
the way.
I can't see those either. It's held annually in early July. The deadline to purchase a super tag chance is June 30th. So you guys still have time if you want to buy a super tag chance in Montana. And if you're wondering what a super tag is, it's basically just like a governor's tag. So if you're a rich guy, you don't have to worry about it. You just spend the hundreds of thousands of dollars and buy the tag, which is awesome. Good for you. If you're a poor working fella like ourselves, we can just buy a
chance.
They're like $10. You
Yeah.
know?
$10.
I think I bought maybe like $80 worth in Montana, and
Yeah.
probably the same in Idaho.
Yeah.
Just hoping you can put in for specific ones too, like you can per species.
Yeah.
Like I think I put in for mule deer, and I put in for bighorn sheep in both states. The bighorn one is like I'd love to draw a bighorn,
Dude,
like a
it'd be so
Rocky
rad.
Mountain.
Yeah, it'd be sweet.
Still on my list. But yeah, so we're stoked for this season though. It's gonna be awesome, dude. I have it stuck in my head now that I'm gonna hold out to try to kill the biggest buck I can in that county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
So-
think, Doug?
Are you stressing yourself out already, Jim?
No, I'm not stressing out. Doug, you know me. I'm filling that tag no matter what. It comes down to the last day, dude. I'm gonna blow out the spike.
Spike.
Yeah.
Because you can
22 points.
Can you shoot any buck?
Any buck,
Yeah.
dude. I'm dumping a spike.
You should
on the
shoot a
last
spike just despite.
Dude.
just like to stick it to everyone who puts in for quality
We
deer
would
tags.
get some freaking hate
Just
mail.
shoot a giant 2-point.
Holy shit.
Here's my number one unit in Washington State quality deer tag. It's a spike, trophy spike.
I think
I've always wanted.
That would be so
I've always
fucking
wanted
funny.
to shoot a spike
That
mule
would be
deer.
so fucking funny. Oh my gosh.
People they'd be losing their minds.
Because if you don't know, pretty much throughout the state, it's 3-point minimum for mule deer.
yeah.
So it's my chance.
Shoot a spike.
It's my only chance to kill a spiked mule deer.
Dude, that'd be so funny.
Everyone can shoot a big buck, but who can shoot a spike?
Check out this trophy
Hey.
2-point I shot.
Listen to this, Doug. If it comes down to the wire, and I've hunted my ass off, and I never found that buck I was looking for, you can guarantee the last day I'm shooting a 2-pointer or spike.
Yeah, for sure.
Fill that
Brown,
tag.
it's down, baby.
And then you know what's going to happen? I'm taking it straight to the taxidermist.
Yes.
I'm going to get it life-sized.
Yes.
Life-sized
and
spike.
then you're going to staple that quality tag right to it.
Yep.
Dude.
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime 2-point right here.
100%.
Oh, my gosh.
I've seen some dandy 2 points, boys.
Fucking break the internet with that one. That
Yeah,
would
you
be
would.
so funny.
Dude, it would be terrible.
It would it would be awful. That would be the worst thing that you could ever do, but it would be so funny.
I feel like I'd feel good about it, though, if it came down to the wire and I was holding out that long and I saw some great bucks.
Yeah.
And then it, like, came down to the last day. It is what it is, right?
I'm
Yeah.
filling the freezer.
That's right. I'm not eating that day. I can guarantee that. I can guarantee that.
So we got to figure out time frame too. So
Yes.
it's the 1st through the 20th, I think, is most tags, and
Yours is the first through the 20th, and so is mine.
that's ends on a Thursday.
So we're going to have to divide and conquer once again,
Yep.
because the best part of the rut is probably going to be
In the
later.
end, yeah.
So
Unless it's not, because the deer where you find them, Doug.
they always
No,
are.
that's the bears.
The bears
are where
the
you
deer
find
are
them.
where the deer are. The
Yeah.
bears are where you
Oh,
find
we're,
them.
we're deer hunters now. We're deer hunters now. It's deer country outdoors.
Deer country
The deer are
outdoors.
where the females are.
Oh,
that
that
time
point.
of year. Yeah,
ooh, up in the club.
yeah.
All right. Okay.
Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited.
Just be prepared. The bucks are not going to want to do anything other than chase tail.
Dude,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of.
I've literally sat there and screamed at muleys chasing does, and they will literally not even look at you.
Oh yeah, when they get in that zone, that
Yes.
peak rut. Yeah.
They don't care.
Dude, it's been my dream forever to chase mule deer
in the rut.
in the rut
Yeah.
in Washington. Never.
you got a little spoiled last year. You got to hunt. You shot a giant whitetail in the rut last year.
I know.
Yeah, just with a general tag in
I
Montana.
thought now is my chance to shoot a good mule deer.
Yeah,
I've waited my whole life for this.
Yeah.
And then I go to Montana and I shoot a whitetail.
Yeah.
a giant whitetail.
Oh,
tag.
you're not
whitetail.
going to pass that up.
No, no.
I'm not a. What did I call myself on the spring bear hunt? I'm an opportunist, Doug.
Yeah.
When you get the duck, you take it.
You always take the duck.
Where did that buck rank in like all of your? Because I know you shot a bunch of whitetails.
I think it's the second biggest whitetail I've killed.
I-
I've killed one bigger, and then I've killed a couple right below it, probably a little bit smaller, that are, they're all in the same kind of category.
Yeah,
But
that was a big deer.
my second biggest one, I thought it was the first biggest one for a while, and then when I,
And all the other ones are Washington.
yeah,
It's so
Whitetails, right?
the one that you shot so massy.
yeah, it had a lot of mass. I do have one that has more points and more tines,
Right,
tine length and stuff, and is a
But-
little bit wider.
but not as massy.
Not as massy.
No,
No,
that
dude,
thing's
that deer was like
super heavy.
ridiculously heavy
Yeah.
all the way through.
Yeah.
Even carrying up his tines,
Mm-hmm.
he was massy. I can't wait to get that deer back
Dude,
from
they were
Brandon.
thick.
Thick.
I have shot some giants as well. If you look on the wall behind us, this is how many whitetails have I
Well,
shot?
funny thing is
Two?
your biggest buck is over there,
Yeah,
and it's not even in the
I know.
the buck wall.
We moved
removed
it. Yeah, I felt
Those
like
ones are pretty nice bucks too.
yeah,
Some
yeah,
of those should have been on this wall too.
yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Of,
Chris has got all of his little
Chris
bucks
has
over
shot
here.
a lot of nice mule deer. He
Shot
shot
some
a
deers.
dandy whitetail this last year though, in Idaho,
Yeah,
which Brandon should be finishing up pretty soon, I would imagine.
yeah. And then decent little 5-point buck, mule deer that I shot in Montana. So I'll have 2 deer coming back that will go on the wall, and then the bull that I shot
Nice.
will be going probably out by the gun shop.
Speaking of taxidermy, I just got this skull back. That's what's on the table here. It's my Quinault bear from last year.
That's a dandy skull.
Yeah, it was a good bear.
It's really nicely done. Like
It's very very nice and clean.
the finish quality.
This is a Connaught bear.
Yep.
Gosh, damn. This is a lot bigger than I remember.
He was a good bear.
It was a really nice bear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got
I think because I've kind of gotten stuck in this weird obsession with wanting to shoot a 7-foot bear.
Did you find out the age on this bear?
I haven't yet. No, because remember,
It
that's
doesn't
through the
look
tribe.
It doesn't look that old.
I think he was probably 5, maybe 6. Does it smell good, Chris?
It doesn't stink. The reason I do that is because this one time, someone button hooked me. They snuck in a stinky skull, left it in my downstairs. The downstairs stunk for about 3 months.
That was so funny. The story when Chris says that he took guests down here to like show him around.
Yeah.
And then he walked in and was like,
remember.
"What's that smell?"
Dude, it smelled so bad. It smelled so
It
bad.
was terrible.
Oh, God, like dirty hot diapers, dude. Ugh. Not doing that one again.
Oh, dude, that's so funny.
So our, I think most likely I'll be taking my 300 PRC on that hunt later because we're going to do our gun builds this year are going to be smaller cartridges. Although I might take the 6.5 PRC. We'll see if we get them done in time and I get enough shooting time in them. But I am excited to start waxing some coyotes in the winter with those.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully, if it pans out, we might. So obviously, we're going to do some predator management, but get a cat hunt
That's the plan.
in the snow with the new rifles. So 6.5 PRC up some. Which would be awesome.
Yeah.
So we're trying to line some cat hunts up. So if you boys know some good hunts for cats, we're in.
We're going cat hunting either way.
Yeah, it should be rad.
So we have. Before we get into that, I want to just touch base on something. Me and Chris are both wearing new T-shirts, and Doug is also wearing.
I'm wearing the new T-shirt as well.
Yeah.
So
Stump Bear.
we have gotten our store updated now.
We revamped our store.
We've revamped it. There's still some old designs on there. We have a handful of new designs. We have a
couple in the barrel or in the chamber.
Nice.
By the time this podcast comes out, there might be another new design.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But we have a new Bear Camp T-shirt.
Bear Camp.
Yep. It's pretty cool looking. Doug did a good job designing that one. We have our new podcast, Barely a Podcast T-shirts.
I love the podcast T-shirt, by the way.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they turned out really good.
Yeah.
I wore my pod. Where did I wear that to? Oh, I wore it to Cabo when I got back from Texas and went to Cabo.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's why we're getting random people.
yeah, like I wore because I went to SeaTac, right? So I was wearing it at SeaTac, and then we flew. I think it was a direct flight, and then like just walking around like in Cabo with a Barely a Podcast T-shirt on, but it's a nice shirt.
Yeah,
right? It looks really good. I really like the logo on the back, and it's like I'm gonna wear this around. And got a couple looks from a couple Blue Hairs in Seattle. But besides that, like mostly positive feedback.
Yeah.
So it's a good T-shirt. It's a good shirt.
It's perfect advertisement.
Yeah. Then we got a couple of our old designs. So the Stump Bear shirt.
The Stump Bear shirt we brought back.
Which I love the Stump Bear.
And we added a hoodie.
Yes,
that
and
line.
we did the Stump Bear in a hoodie too.
Ooh.
So you can get a hoodie.
And
with
two
Stump
types
Bear.
of T-shirts too, right? Like we have the tri-blend, like the more fitted shirt
I
with
think
the shorter sleeves.
most of our designs are in the tri-blend.
Yeah, the Stump Bear is in the other one, the beefy tee, that shirt.
So if you do order the Stump Bear shirt, do know, unless you're a big boy, then it probably fits you right. But if you're a guy my size, I'm always a large. And if you order the beefy tee, it's going to be an extra large.
Is this one on the site?
That shirt and that design is not on the site.
Oh, just wait, boys and girls. It's good. So this one is in the beefy tee. I'm a beefy fella, right?
You like that shirt?
It's nice. It's nice to mix it up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
I work real hard for the games, but I don't need to show
It's
them
a
off
little,
all the
it's
boys
a
all the
little
time.
looser fitting.
So I kept the Stump Bear shirt just because of the color of the shirt and everything. Kind of leave it how it was.
Right.
This was the only shirt that came with this color that I liked. The material and everything. So I just kept this one. The rest of them are next level tri-blend.
I like the orange shirt though. Like it's like it's like a heavier. It's not like a. It feels like a winter shirt almost.
It's almost like the Carhartt workwear.
Yeah,
shirts.
like yeah. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
So,
it's
so
a
the
nice
stump bear is in that shirt. Yeah.
So if you're a large, order a medium. If you're a medium, or a small, if they even have.
Or just
smalls.
wash it and then put it in the dryer.
Yeah.
Yeah, which didn't work for me. So don't listen to Doug.
But if it's nice, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's just like a big. It's comfortable.
It's a big comfy shirt.
My wife's
Yeah.
gonna take this shirt and she's gonna like wear it.
Yeah, right?
That's what
Yeah.
Tiffany did. I was like, you can have it. It's too big for me. And
Yeah.
so she uses it as a bedtime shirt.
Yeah, so it'll get stolen for sure.
It'll get used.
Yeah.
So anyways, go
Your,
check it out.
your wife will steal it.
There'll also be a surprise design, which maybe we'll talk about on the next podcast.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. I
Yeah.
like it.
But that one's
It's
coming
almost
out
ready to go.
very
Yeah.
soon.
And we're gonna do some sort of giveaway, right? When you buy our merch, maybe for like we're gonna do it like for the month of June.
Sure.
Or we're gonna wait till July. Or what
Let's
you
do
guys
it for the month of June.
think? Month of June.
Yeah, we'll do a good price, not a crappy price.
I say we do a surprise giveaway.
It's a surprise giveaway, but let me say this: we'll make it a dollar amount so that people aren't like,
like-
this is really. What am I going to get a T-shirt? Or
Chris
something?
gave me his old shit again. Great, thanks. Yay.
Let's say it'll be worth $400 or more.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I have some stuff in mind.
Okay.
So if
That's a pretty good prize. Maybe can I win?
Sure.
Because I don't know what the prize is. And that's
No, you can't win your own giveaway, you weirdo.
Yeah.
I'll buy some more shirts.
we bought some of our own shirts.
I did, yeah, just to test out the system. Yeah.
Well, and we need to get.
I paid full retail.
So did I.
Join the club.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess the month of June until the 30th.
Yeah.
Is that when the month ends? I don't know. Yep, 30th. Till the 30th. Yep.
30th.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Do you guys count? Do you guys do that? You count the knuckles?
No.
No. How do you know how many days are in the end of the month? Then?
I don't. I don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, see, it's January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November.
We're getting completely off topic.
Yeah,
here.
like if you put them together like this, like that's how you count the months.
What is this, preschool?
Yeah, it works.
That's fantastic, Chris. Congratulations.
Sorry. Apparently, I know how many days are in all the months, and the boys are jealous.
Super jealous.
I can barely remember what day it is.
Dude.
So yeah, go onto our merch store, and if you buy a piece of merch, maybe at the end of the month, we'll do a giveaway,
I'll do a giveaway.
and then we'll obviously have your name because you ordered something.
When we'll do it legit, Doug has a random number generator that we're going to put it in. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we won't send it off to a third party.
Yeah.
Unless we get millions of orders, then I'm just going to be like,
Yeah, which would be rad.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
The $3 a T-shirt we make would be sweet. That would be awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
For that many orders, yeah, it,
would
sure
be
would.
sweet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So go buy something.
Yeah,
And we'll have to promote that on our socials because there's only like 5 of you who listen to our podcast. So
thanks, guys. Thanks, who people are listening.
Thanks to the few that listen
You know,
continuously.
speaking of, I got a. Obviously, we got some great questions from Mr. Matt Russell. Thank you, Matt.
yep.
And then I also got a comment from old Tyler Turner. I saw him cruising down the highway, and I'd messaged him. He's like, "Dude, when are you gonna drop another podcast, dude? Get on it." And I was like, "It's totally my fault. We've just been busy as all get out. So we're gonna get better, do better." James is looking for his glasses. They're on his face. He's looking for his phone. It's in his hand. We're there.
We're there already.
We're losing
there.
it.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's switch gears here because we're just going off the rails. Let's start with some. We'll call this the Matt Russell question segment.
Ooh, I like that.
So
We didn't put
Chris-
we didn't put the favorite one on there.
I
Yeah,
know,
I don't think we should put that on there. I don't think we should discuss that on the internets. We'll get canceled, Doug. I really like
Sorry, Matt. We
I-
can't have you do that.
I really like our sponsors, and I'd like to keep them. So
We'll start with you, Chris. I'm going to start the question, and
Okay.
then when Doug gets back, I will
okay,
ask him the question.
okay.
We're going to start out with the worst missed shot that you've ever had.
Ooh,
We're talking about probably hunting situation.
Yeah.
Worst missed shot.
yeah.
What what comes to mind?
I can remember. So to bring it all the way back. Like I shot my first deer when I was 21, I think.
Okay.
So I was a late adult onset hunter, right?
You were a late bloomer.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer, and had shot some guns, but hadn't I worked. Like my dad had a construction company. I just worked since I was like 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm out in the woods and I'm hunting and I get some success. It was super awesome. I'm instantly hooked. And I remember I'm up in that same spot with those same group of guys. I'm in Winthrop, right? And if anyone's ever hunted Winthrop, like everyone says, the old boys, oh, you got to wait for the migrators. The migrators are coming through. Oh, you see the migrators, and you're always like, what is this mythical migrator? It's like a snipe hunt, right?
Okay.
Like, right, okay, migrators. And the way they talk about them, they're big and they're heavy and they're dark horned, and all this.
They're coming out of the back country.
Yeah, and they're coming out of the back country, right? Because Winthrop's down in the
close to the back country.
Yeah, down in the valley, and then you get the big, huge. So, anyways, I'm there. I'm sitting up on this knob. Elevation wise, maybe it's like 250 feet, and it timbered comes down, and it gets into just kind of open sagebrushy type, nothing. And not really knowing what I'm doing, but just looking like I'm always glassing, I got my old Leupold Olympics that I bought off of eBay for, $100 or whatever because I didn't have any money. And they were awesome, right?
Yeah.
They were 10.
Top of the dude, they're Leupolds.
Yeah, they were
They're
10
not
by
Nikons.
10
Come
by
on.
50s, dude. They were rad. So all of a sudden I'm glassing and I see this buck, and it was a freaking the biggest deer I'd ever seen, dude. Just hauling ass, and it's coming to me, kind of quartering a little bit to my left. And I'm just losing my mind. I'm like, oh God, And the deer's running, it's getting closer and closer and closer. And I remember, I'm trying to remember which rifle I was shooting. Anyways, the buck stops, and again, massive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get down on this deer, and I can still remember, and I pull the trigger, and I just see the dust fly over the top of this deer, and he starts ripping. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed, this deer was so big. And he gets into the timber, and I go run, and I chase this deer all over. And I know, I know where he ran up, and I know where he's coming around, and I run over there, and all of a sudden I hear, and then bullets flying over top of my head.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm just I hit the deck, and I'm like, oh, shit. I mean, it's Winthrop, right?
Yeah.
That's the battleground of deer hunting, right?
Right.
And long story short, I go up, and it was actually a guy from our camp had shot this buck. And it was and it was a legit migrator, giant, heavy-horned, just dark. I could still, dude, it was 28 inches wide probably, dude. It was so big, and it was just, I mean, like your whitetail, the mass all the way out to the tips.
Oh, man.
And that deer has haunted me ever since because I missed that deer, and then that's when I started building long-range rifles.
Because of that moment.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm never going to miss again.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know. I was just guessing, I didn't even have a rangefinder. It was probably 450 yards, I'm guessing. I don't know, but I didn't have a rangefinder. I didn't have a long-range gun. I didn't know what I was doing. And so after that, here we are 14 years later, the gun company's been running it.
Nice.
And I do not miss at 450 yards.
This is your biggest mistake?
That was my most
worst missed shot.
Worst missed shot.
Yeah,
Right.
and I can still remember to this day, Doug, that was 20-something years ago.
I missed the biggest whitetail I ever seen.
When?
I can't remember how many years ago it was.
Tell
All
me
right.
It
about
was
it.
more than 12 years
Let
ago.
her rip, Doug.
I just told a 37-minute story, Doug. You got to do better than that.
Yeah.
Mine
I
is
missed the
definitely
whitetail.
not 37 minutes. Basically, when we were hunting the good old spot back in the day, and I think we had already had a bunch of success that year. Already had 2 or 3 deer in camp, and we were kind of exploring somewhat of a newer spot that we hadn't actually been into in the past years. And I mean, we've been everywhere in this area, and it was all kind of newer, clear cut too. So I mean, a lot of it was open, and we come through this area and we see some deer, and everyone jumps out. Of course, we're all looking down, looking at all the deer, and my uncle at the time, he already had his tag filled. and all of a sudden I hear him over there going, ooh, 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 like that, right? Because
Right.
everything else was a doe that we would seen. Because at the point, I think it was it was still 4-point minimum
Yeah, it
for
must have been.
whitetail at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we've seen any other bucks, but there was probably like a dozen deer that we were looking at. And when he started doing that, I immediately like looked back down there kind of in the general vicinity where those deer were, and I saw this giant 5x5 whitetail step out from underneath this Christmas tree. And I shit you not, his front tines were this far past his nose.
Oh shit.
Long maybe.
Huge. And he was not stopping, and I just started letting her rip.
Right.
Offhand, probably close to 200 yards.
Right.
Like, taking the shot I can,
Yeah.
you got to take a shot, otherwise you're
Yeah.
not going to get a chance.
Yeah.
I think I let 2 of them go at that deer. No, nothing. Completely missed. Both shots. But later on, I think it was the day after that, I ended up shooting a 4x3, like right before shooting light, about 10 feet from the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I
makes it a
redeemed
little-
myself.
It makes it a little easier to swallow when you get redemption quickly.
Yes.
Because otherwise you just beat yourself up.
Oh, man.
and you go
I
through
was
the-
beating myself up so bad after that. I mean, it was probably, at that point, I think it was the biggest deer I had seen while hunting. And
Before I tell mine, this is just like a question for both of you guys. Well, for all of us. What is worse? Missing something badly or seeing something and having a split second to take a shot and not taking the shot?
I would say missing.
You think missing?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because it's
I'm
just
a lot harder on myself, I feel like, when I miss.
Because then that's proven failure.
Yeah, because I know because I know I'm better than that.
Right.
Right.
Like, you completely miss and you go, what am I doing?
Yeah.
It's like that one time when we were over at the cabin and you had all those misses, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
And I heard about it, you're just like, you want to just throw your shit.
Oh,
Just
dude.
get rid of it, you know.
Just-
Good riddance. See you later.
Oh, dude, I've been there. I've come very close. I've seen other people either.
Oh yeah, I've
wanna
I've
throw
definitely
their
heard
guns.
stories.
I've
of
watched
that
someone
happening.
take their bullets and throw them all, and then have a buck jump out in front of us and then be like, "Damn it, my
I
bullets!" and
don't have any
crawling down in
bullets.
a clear
Dude.
cut to grab a bullet.
A close second on that miss is when I had zero composure, and it was when they opened wolf hunting in Montana, and I think I was with my Uncle John, and I think I was with Travis. Anyways, we hike up over this knob, and there's this big draw, this giant mountain behind us, and here comes this freaking black wolf barreling out, and I'm just like, you are so dead, because I got my gun, I know what I'm shooting, but this was at the time when, like, I had been very critical of my shooting in every single aspect, as far as, like, you watch so many videos and you listen to so many people and you think about so many things when you're shooting. So I'm thinking about, like, my cheek weld and the back pressure, how many pounds of back pressure I'm putting on my gun, and then my trigger squeeze and my, and where I'm putting my thumb and the can of your rifle, and you're thinking about all these things. And I remember I had focused on too much like back pressure on my gun, and so it was not my normal shooting style. So I was even more excited because
So
I see
you're
this wolf.
over analyzing your shot.
Yes, and it was so stupid. So long as I should have killed this wolf a million times over. It was like, first shot was like 450 yards. I just dial, and I get down and I shoot. I don't even remember where I hit, dude. I just remember the wolf takes off, and I'm like, and my Uncle John's calling out range, 550, 650, and like, I've been shooting, hand-sized rocks at 1,000 yards consistently.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this thing's deader than dead. Frickin' never even touched it, dude. Not even get close to it. I remember and this is no bullshit. I'm not proud of this. I get done, and I think I still had those Olympics, those Loophole Olympics. They don't make those anymore. But I remember I took my binos, like the old bino harnesses that had like the little metal like loops to attach it, right?
Oh yeah,
And I
like
tear
the old Uncle Mike's or something.
Yeah, and I tear my binos off of my chest and throw them like straight in those little metal things straight
like
up.
they were the ones to blame.
Yeah, and throw it, and I'm like on my back bicycle kicking like a child. And I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm just so mad at myself because I know exactly what I was doing,
Yeah.
And looking back at that, I'm just like, what an idiot. So stupid. I'm so embarrassed just even thinking about it. But,
That's terrible.
now I know, like I practice more. I shoot a bunch, Like today, I was at the range with the
I
SWAT
think
guy.
that's very important is
Yeah.
to definitely shoot more than
Yeah.
you do. Like
Well,
you might think you're good,
And
you
being
shoot
natural
some.
too, like
yeah.
naturally shooting the way you know how to shoot and have practice shooting is probably way more important than trying to overanalyze every aspect of your shot.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you start getting into your head and like, am I doing this? Am I doing that? Am I like? Then you almost just kind of ruin it for yourself. I've done the same thing.
Yeah.
And
Oh, we totally did it.
yeah,
Remember the bear?
yeah.
The Montana bear?
Trust me, I remember that was one of my.
Yeah. And you're like, why didn't I just? And I'm like, I don't know.
I just because I did something that is not natural to me.
Yeah.
Because I was overanalyzing it, and
Yeah.
the moment was too big.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a big moment.
I made it
Yeah.
too big in my head, and
Yeah.
then I did something that I didn't normally do or wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my worst misses was that miss.
I still remember that. And you're
I
like,
think we've all had the miss in Montana. Now.
Yeah, all three of us have now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess I can't say I didn't miss, but I didn't get anything. So
Yeah.
Same as it ever was.
same
but-
as it ever was. I made a shitty shot.
Some of my worst memories of missing actually weren't misses. I guess that would roll into like another question that we have, which biggest mistakes
Right.
was shots that could have been
Right.
that didn't happen. Because I know you think I'm a cowboy and I shoot off the hip all the time and I'm always letting rounds rip. But I'm also, honestly, I'm very picky about the precise moment when I pull the trigger.
Right.
Even if it is an offhand shot or something weird.
Right.
Like, I don't pull that trigger until I'm pretty confident that it's going to hit.
Right.
Or like 99%.
Yeah.
And so I haven't really missed a lot. I've missed a handful of times.
Mm-hmm.
I've wounded a few
Right.
animals, mostly with archery, because archery is different.
Yeah, we want to talk about
Yeah, that's a whole
That's a
different.
whole nother
wounding.
ballgame.
Yeah, but as far as like opportunities, like I feel like there's way more animals that I think about in my head, like as the one like that got away,
Yeah.
because I had that split second opportunity, and then I didn't. I could have tapped that trigger really fast and made it happen,
Right.
but then I just hesitated for that split second. It's usually it's either something's taken off,
Right.
or you have like a split second between like trees or bushes or something.
Right.
I've had multiple shots with bears where I could have just like squeezed one in, but I'm waiting for that perfect angle, or, there's plenty. There was one in particular. This will be my missed story.
Mm-hmm.
I was up chasing this bear that I knew was around, but I'd never seen it. I've just seen sign of it. I've seen his prints, seen his shit on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this idea. I'm going to sit on this spot all day long, thick, overgrown, Western Washington, like open clear cut, but it's like 10-year-old clear cut.
Oh, geez, yeah.
I got some elevation on it so I could see down in it, but it's
Right.
like jack pines and then sticker bushes, blackberries. And that bear had been working that area. And I thought, if I sit here all day long from like basically sun up to sundown, at some point that bear's going to cross through this section.
Right.
And so I'm sitting up there, and I'm sitting on the road, like off the side of the road a little bit, maybe 20 yards. And it's an overgrown, like saplings growing up through the road.
Right.
Little alder saplings.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear this buzzing coming from behind me. It's like, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. And I sit there the whole time, and I ain't shitting you. In the time that I was sitting there, it's like middle of the day heat, probably like 80 degrees.
Yeah.
A tractor with a brush hog was coming up that road and clearing all the saplings off the road. So it comes up like right behind me and is
No way.
Yes, is cutting saplings because I guess they're getting ready to maybe log another section or something.
Oh my gosh.
And we're going to reopen that road.
Right.
And I'm just like, freaking perfect timing, you know,
Right.
like, this is bullshit. And I thought about, like, I'm getting up and getting out of here because this, you know, what animal's going to come out now,
Right.
you know. But I stuck it out. So he goes up to the end of the road, which I was almost at, which is a dead end.
Right.
And there's a big turnaround, and then he turns around and comes back and leaves. So that was it. And so I'm just like, whatever, I'm already in here. Like, I had a plan. I'm going to stick it out. And
Middle of the day.
Middle of the day. It's hotter and shit. And I look down in the bottom, and this is like 30 minutes after this tractor had just gone through.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a flash of black moving through. And I'm like, holy shit, there's a bear. And I put my glass on, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a huge bear. And I nicknamed that bear at that time, which after the fact.
Tractor bear. Huge bear. Black bear.
I named it the refrigerator bear because he was so wide and so long. He
Right.
looked like a giant refrigerator just moving through the brush.
I was close.
And, yeah, pretty close. Tractor bear.
Tractor bear.
Should have named it Tractor Bear. And so this is where one of those moments comes into play. I get my glass on him, my scope, and I'm looking at him, and he's facing away from me,
Right.
but I'm up here.
Right.
So his angle is like less than a 45, but like
Right.
kind of like angling away.
You get to get him right between the shoulder blades.
I could have dumped him right between the shoulder blades. Boom. It was
Yeah.
110 yards. And I'm thinking, oh, he's totally just going to, at some point, he's just going to feed broadside right here.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that perfect shot.
Right.
And I'm posted up, and he feeds, and he feeds, and he feeds. Then finally, there was 2 or 3 times where I was squeezing trigger, and I was like, just wait. And then he just walks behind one little jack pine, and then boom, out of my life, gone. Never came back out. Never resurfaced. Nothing. I think about 15 minutes goes by, and I saw one flash of him over in another spot, and I just saw his head, and I threw up my glass on him, my scope,
Right.
and he was up there, and he was pulling something down and eating, and I was like, I'm just gonna shoot him in the head, and I'm getting ready to shoot, and he kind of goes like this, and he drops down, and then he takes off, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, the wind's blowing in my face.
Right.
I know I didn't make any noise.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out what the hell happened. Well, he ran and circled all the way behind me and caught my wind.
No way.
And then, boof, I heard a and then he did that huff, and he took off.
Dude.
So he knew. He saw something. And what I figured out was the sun was setting right towards where he was.
Right.
And I was like this, and I think that the sun hit my glass, and I think it was sending a reflection. And even though they have shitty eyesight, I think that reflection was enough.
Right.
Caught his eye.
It caught his eye, and he saw it and was like, shit. And then he circled around to downwind to see what I was or see if I was a threat, and then caught my wind.
Were you shooting the old 308?
Yep.
See if you had that ultra mag. You just let her eat, baby.
Well, and the worst part is like after me and Doug just went through this, the coulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda,
coulda, yeah.
you know?
Oh, been there. Yeah.
And I was thinking, you know, dude, I beat myself up for months and months and months about this.
Yeah.
Was like every time I could have pulled that trigger. That's a great shot, by the way.
Oh, dude, love it. Yeah.
Downhill, or like if you're below them, or even if they're going uphill like this and you got it between the shoulder blades.
Oh, I love the between the shoulder blades.
That's a good
If
shot
you got
on a bear.
something where you can hit the back.
Yeah. And especially if you can hit the back into the kill zone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, and I had a perfect shot.
That's dead bear.
If you're putting it in the pump house, plus, if
You have a target zone about that big.
Yeah.
Because either you're going to blow the lung out, you're going to hit the heart.
Break the back.
You depend on the angle. You could hit the offside shoulder.
Yeah.
You're going to, if you break the back, even better.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good shot. And I beat myself up for so long because I was just like, I didn't pull that trigger. Like 3 or 4 times I could have done it. And I was waiting for that broadside shot and just never got it. So that's why I'm always
dumped that bear right there. In his
Oh, yeah.
tracks.
He would have been, boom,
Yeah.
lay it out right there. And
that big bear in the shop on top of the safe.
Mm-hmm.
that's how we were level. We were perfectly level, but he was feeding on the it was like in an estuary and like all the fresh grass, and he would pick his head up for like 2 seconds, and I could have like shot him in the chest, but he had his head down, and you could just see these giant shoulders, and I could see like where his shoulder blades were at when he's down, and he's like just eating, and I was like, I go skull up just a little bit in between his shoulder blades, and I touched off, and dude, he just
Oh yeah, dude, that's a great shot.
pancaked him,
Yeah. I
And
mean, I just put a shot. That bear in Montana was facing us, but it was just like front, so I took frontal right here into the kill zone, and it just wrecked it.
Well, you're shooting a big, heavy hitting cartridge too. Like that's the thing. Like we talk about cartridge selection all the time with like bears and different critters and stuff like that. Like I was talking about, like, I might go shoot that deer with I have no problem shooting a deer with a 6.5 PRC. Depending on where it's at, and what type of bullet I'm using, right? Bear, not happening.
Gotta be a 30 cal.
Dude, got to be a big 30 cal.
Yeah, dude. You know how many people I saw lose bears this year?
Dude.
I know one too, but
Yeah. Like honestly, like I've been talking about building, whenever I get time for myself to build myself that 375 SciTac, I'll shoot a bear with that in a heartbeat. People are like, oh, what about meat loss? What about overkill? You can't kill something too much. I mean, I shot that bear up in Alberta with the 470 Nitro Express, and you're talking about like not shooting it, that second time. Mm-hmm. I wish I would have shot it a second time. Because it ran off, and I was like, shit, dude, I should have shot it. And if I lose a couple extra pounds of meat, I'd rather have that thing die right there.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, like looking at it from, like, if you want to call it an ethics standpoint, like, dude, shoot everything in the head. I want everything to die right there.
Yeah.
That's half the time. Like, I don't even want to take my archery tackle out. People go, oh, you just need to be a better shot. Well, obviously, those type of people don't hunt enough to know that, like, you hunt enough with archery, you will lose a fair amount of animals, and you're going to wound a fair amount of animals. And it's
I can guarantee even Cam Haynes has lost some animals.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He probably doesn't talk much about it, but I guarantee yes.
I bet you if you asked him, like, hey, how many animals have you lost? He'd be like, a bunch, And he's probably one of the best bow hunters out there.
Like the grizzly bear that they had to shoot.
Yeah, it's just like you shoot.
Yeah.
I get it. Like
the guide had to shoot.
I get the challenge of, like, wanting to get out there with a bow. And I've killed a shit ton of deer with a bow. And I've killed elk with a bow. I've never killed a bear with a bow. But I just,
Dude, they are tough.
I'd rather just blast something with a giant rifle and
Yeah.
then have it die instantly.
That first bear I killed last year was with my bow,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure I lunged him,
Yeah.
and he was paralyzed, and he would not die.
Yeah.
I had to shoot him again.
Dude, they're tough as shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It's hard, dude. Bears are tough. I saw 2 or 3 guys that shot bears and then said it looked like a great shot, and they never found them this year and this spring, and including Doug.
Yeah.
Doug lost one. I mean, I don't think that bear died,
right.
but it happens all the time with high-powered rifles.
Yeah.
Archery is even harder.
Yeah.
If you don't have that perfect angle and that perfect shot, and you don't get a double lung, even if you hit one lung on a bear, it's going to go a long ways. And chances of you finding that with a bow is very slim.
Well, they don't bleed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many great blood trails have you followed with a bear?
A couple, handful.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they just, I mean, unless you
Occasionally.
if you blow like a hole, like a giant hole in a bear, they will. Or maybe if you shoot one in the springtime where it doesn't have a lot of fat, you shoot a fall bear. I don't give a shit what you shoot it with. You shoot a big fat fall bear, it's you can't. There's no blood.
Yeah.
Because
Dude,
that fat just soaks up.
I pancaked a bear in the middle of the road with a muzzle loader with a 250 grain bullet, and it ran off with 3 legs. There was 0 blood.
Yeah, they just don't bleed.
Yeah.
It's best to lay them out on the ground and keep them there on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, like
You do not want to track bears.
Shoot.
Let's just put
Don't
it
want
that
to
way.
track bears because they always run to the shittiest, nastiest hellhole they can find.
Yes.
yeah,
Every single time.
they're super hard to track.
They don't bleed.
Yeah,
They're very hard to track, and
Yeah.
depending on where you're at, sometimes even if they are bleeding, you can't even see the blood.
Yeah.
and it's the steepest, nastiest. It's not like a big open field where deer are at.
Right.
And it's like
They run to the hellhole.
They run
Yeah.
into the hellholes
Yep.
for sure.
and
Stuff you can't even walk in.
we have James's nice, beautiful white skull here. But if we went over to my skull table over there, and we pulled out my quinault bear that Doug and I shot, you'd notice it's missing the whole back half of its skull, and that bear went exactly freaking nowhere.
Yep.
You know, like you shoot him in the head.
And
that was probably the easiest tracking job we ever did.
That's why I like a headshot is a good shot if it's close enough and you're very, very confident.
Right.
I would not take a headshot if you're anything over 80 to 100 yards. I wouldn't pull the trigger on a headshot unless I was dead steady.
I think you need to practice and be proficient, you know, at whatever you use. And like, I think that all of us, you know, we have nice rifles, right? So that's a huge one up. I have to shoot whether I like it or not because
you get to shoot more than all of us.
Yeah. You know, like I had a short day at the range. I took the SWAT guy out there to test some new rifles, but I sat there for 2.5 hours, and that was the shortest time I've ever been there. It was 2.5 hours, and I shot for 2.5 hours. You know, and it was like we talked about like shot position and stuff like that. So you can only shoot in certain positions there at the range because of legalities. But anyways, we're shooting from benches, and he's like, God, I haven't shot from a bench in a long time. This is going to be really hard for me because he always shoots prone. Snipers shoot prone, right? Mm-hmm. They're always laid out. So, which is, in my personal opinion, the best way to shoot because you can
if you're shooting long range.
Yeah, it's great because everything's steady. Scenario. You take your body motion out of everything. But it kind of hit home because I was thinking about, so James, the cowboy, right? Like he made me shoot freehand in Idaho because, to be honest, that's the only way you could shoot there. That's how you had to hunt those deer. We saw whitetail for like 2 seconds, and I'm just like, I was very uncomfortable.
That's just how we grew up, hunting whitetail.
Like snap shooting, and I wasn't used to it, so I was just like, I had to have like a mental talk with myself, like, okay, you need to be as proficient as fast as you can. But I'm
pretty much,
yeah.
But I'm like you, like I love shooting prone because I get to take my time. I got to slow everything down. That's partly why I like shooting long range because I can see the animal. They're not running away. I can get, and I know exactly how far I can shoot and where my bullet's going to go, you know. And so when I'm shooting fast, there's so much more, you know, like I'm standing up, I got this big fat soft squishy body flapping around everywhere. You know, I'm out of breath. I got a backpack on. You know, it's uphill, it's downhill, I'm turning, you know.
Oh, and as you're trying to time your movements because your crosshairs are kind of doing this.
Well, that's another thing is you cannot be perfectly steady, right? You have to time it. And
the longer you try to be steady, sometimes the worse off you are.
And the longer that you sit there and hold it, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
Especially when you're offhand.
And
then trying to not, you know,
yank the trigger.
Jerk the trigger is a big one. You know, that's what you got to think about the most.
It's in my mind, right? It's like, no, I can steady this perfectly. And then I remember I was watching the Olympics, whatever, how many years it was ago, and every technology, right? And they have a tracker, and they show the guy's muzzle like on the actual target, you know, in like a red line. And it's everywhere. It's all
everywhere,
over there.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and these guys are like the best shooters in the world. Like, this is freaking crazy. So they're all over the place too. So I was just like, okay, I can do this. And luckily, you know, like with a little coaching from James, I shot that deer, and it was awesome. You know, but it was really hard for me. So I think just getting that practice in, like I shot out here the other night on the property, you know, but standing up freehand, right? So I was like, oh, I got to do that because I can practice prone on any time in a shooting position. Matt Russell shoots off a fence post better than anyone I've seen in my entire life. It's the craziest thing. He can literally lean over the top of an old shitty rickety fence post, and twice I've seen him shoot animals at over 800 yards like that.
That's crazy.
First shot.
He's a great shot though.
Dude, that's mind-blowing though. Like, how do you get in a position to where you're not all over the place, you know?
It's just repetition, like getting your reps in.
It just and some people are like the guy I took out today, the SWAT sniper, like, dude, bug holes, bang, 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 bang. Like, I'd shoot a gun. I'd be like, okay, now you can shoot a group with it because, you know, I suck.
I think that naturally there's some people that have that ability to do that better than others naturally.
Yeah.
And some people have to, like, really force themselves to adapt to it.
Yeah.
Because, like, I grew up shooting offhand all the time, and I think it was just because I didn't have the proper training. I didn't have like the resources that you know.
You and Doug are just out there.
Just as kids, like
Just
running around with
willy-nilly,
red,
just
dude,
running around with guns, just
Red Riders or
shooting a deer.
22s or whatever.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
even as little kids, running around with Red Rider, I think was probably the best thing for me.
Oh yeah.
Like when I was
BB
a
gun.
kid, like shooting robins and birds that you're probably not supposed to shoot
Right.
and stuff. It's been what's
Shooting
the
it-
statute of limitations?
Right, no doubt. I'm not gonna lie.
Shoot the neighbor dogs that come in, shit in your yard.
Trying to shoot squirrels off the fence or whatever. But like that as a kid, like I can't even tell you how many hours I probably spent just running around with a Red Rider shooting stuff.
Really?
And I think
shooting
that
pop cans.
oh yeah, pop
for
cans all the time,
hours.
dude,
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
We just shoot Red Riders. And I think that honestly, that probably translated over into like shooting 22s and then 22s, shooting rifles, and then so naturally I have this instinct to like shoot stuff freehand, but as I've gotten older and the shots start getting longer and longer,
Right.
you start realizing you can't always do that.
No.
I mean, my maximum freehand range where I'm comfortable is probably 200 yards is probably at my max.
Yeah.
Like where I'm comfortable pulling a trigger.
Yeah.
And it has to be lined up perfect at that range. Anything over that is like, dude, you try shooting 300 yards freehand, forget about it, dude.
Yeah,
you're
you're
all
pushing
over
it.
the place. That target is just
Yeah.
doing this. You might be on the animal, off the animal, on
Right.
the animal, off the animal, and
Yeah.
forget about a kill zone.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I do like the idea of when whatever you're shooting, a deer, a bear, or whatever, when they are farther away, typically it's not, hopefully it's not running away or it doesn't see you or whatever, because you have that distance, you have that time to get set up, however type of shooting position you get into. But like back to that freehand stuff, like, I mean, it wasn't 200 yards, but it was like 160 something yards that I shot that deer at, and I was like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was difficult, but I've shot my 22, my silenced 22 long rifle. I've shot that out here a bunch practicing, and just like picking out an object and being like, okay, not like getting set up just wherever I'm aiming, like, oh, I'm going to shoot like with a quickness, right?
Yeah.
Which is the hardest thing for me is that snap, like not taking 10, 20 seconds, but taking 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah, getting that
Pull up.
quick target acquisition.
1, 2, 3, bang,
Yeah.
which is hard for me because I don't practice it that much. I can shoot prone fantastic. I can shoot from a bench fantastic. Even from a seated position with long bipods, I shoot fairly well. But that snap shooting was tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think working on that, I probably need to shoot a shotgun more because I used to shoot a shotgun a bunch, and I think that'll help me as well.
Yeah, I think so
that
too.
definitely helped me a lot when I was younger.
I still carry like a lot of that skill.
I
from
shot a shotgun a lot when I was younger. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was just
and
going to say that
just like that,
definitely
getting on
correlates.
target fast and then having to pull the trigger within an X amount of time before it gets out of range.
right.
I think that really does help. Like if you're trying to become a better
And
freehand shooter or
mounting
snapshot,
your gun
yeah.
is very important.
If you're just throwing your gun up and then you're not even all the way, yeah, exactly what you're saying. Like you're not seating your cheek in the right position
Right.
and you're just pulling the trigger, you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter, especially like with iron sights or like
Yes.
shotgun or whatever.
100%.
You get a little bit more leeway with a crosshair because a crosshair is going to hit where a crosshair hits.
Right.
But there can be a little bit of adjustment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If your cheek isn't in the right spot,
Yeah.
you're seeing the crosshair, but the crosshair is kind of off.
Yeah.
Like you could still miss.
Yeah.
Proper shooting technique. Everyone needs to practice. I think that's a great. How long have we been going, Doug?
I have no clue.
I
I've
think
been going
we're
for a little
We're
while.
probably like an hour.
Probably
and
an
a half.
hour in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll be okay.
I think that's a great way to finish it. Is we should all shoot more and practice more.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to do that more.
Yeah.
We'll get around to some more.
We're gonna need to
practices
get
here.
some memberships over at the
At the range.
at the range.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except for it's about 2 years to get a membership.
I know a guy. I know a guy.
Know a guy.
Yeah. Unless
No
you guys
guy.
unless you know of a private shooting range, or if someone has a big piece of property that they want to sell or lease to us, I have guys that have been looking, and I would love to buy a big
Dude,
piece of property. as
long
well.
range.
Yeah.
We're looking for something you could stretch out to like minimum 800 would be nice.
Yeah, 1,000 yards
Yeah.
would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm not saying that we're going to shoot something at 1,000 yards, but if I shoot all the time at 1,000 yards when I need to make a 550 yard shot, it's like I can do it with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
So
It's like what they say in archery. It's like you want to practice at twice the range that you're going to be shooting at for hunting. Realistically,
Well, and
you know.
there's so many times where you're like, yeah, I can shoot out to this far.
Yeah.
And then when the moment comes and the animal's there, you're like, oh, we got to get closer.
Yeah.
You know, because realistically, you don't want to shoot that far. Even though
No.
you could doesn't mean
Yeah.
you want to or you will.
Dude, I'll shoot stuff at 10 feet. I don't care. Right in the
Oh,
face.
dude, love.
And you can have
love
the
to close
equipment that can shoot that far, no problem.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to you,
Yeah.
I agree.
you know. So
Yeah. I can shoot 1,000 yards, no problem. But if a deer comes in at 10 feet, I'm not going to wait for it to get farther away. I will shoot it right in
Dude.
the face.
I love shooting deer close.
been there,
range.
done that.
I love shooting anything that within 20 yards, dude.
Yeah.
If you can get a 20-yard shot on any animal with a rifle,
Oh, dude.
it is such a good feeling because when you put those crosshairs on it, it's almost like
It's all brown.
guaranteed.
Yeah. It's like, I wonder if Brandon can piece his skull back together. Don't care. Boom.
Boom.
That's
Thanks,
so
Get her
Brandon.
done.
Brandon's a great taxidermist. Shout out to Old Stuff Taxidermy.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a great job, you guys.
He's done a lot of stuff for us.
Bear, deer, elk. He's getting Argentinian water buffalo. He's getting Texas axis deer. He's doing a life size for me. He's doing all sorts of stuff. Good dude.
And shout out to Hayes Taxidermy as well because he just gave me when we got back from Montana, we got
Oh yeah,
all my backpack.
old
bear
John
mounts.
Hayes. Yeah,
Yep.
he's doing all sorts of stuff up there.
Mm-hmm. It's good work.
Yeah, he was working on a Grand Slam when we walked in there.
You're kidding me?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sheep slam.
Well, he wasn't actually working on the Grand Slam. He was working on the
habitat.
the scene,
Oh yeah, yeah.
the scenery,
He
basically.
was making a sweet habitat for
Really?
it. Yeah, like
a bunch
mountain-
of those big. Yeah.
Yeah, like
mountains,
the
rocks.
rocks.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
all
was
kinds
doing
of
a
shit,
desert sheep, and then he was getting ready to do a stone sheep right after that.
Holy crap. That's so much money.
And he was
dude.
kind
I
of
know.
trying to put him. Yeah, he said it was he was going to charge the guy $35,000.
That doesn't sound that bad, honestly.
No,
I mean, for how much money I spent on
it's a lot of
taxidermy.
work.
Let's be honest here, boys. That's one season for me. Yeah.
One season for me. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
We're just,
Well, if you want to be a hunter, you're going to be broke the whole life.
You know.
So
You're never going to have money.
Tiffany's brother Skylar, my brother-in-law,
Yeah.
he just getting into hunting, and which by the way he needs to come pick up that rifle from you.
Oh yeah. Good dude. I
but
like him.
I tried to explain it to him the best I could in the beginning, because he's like, yeah, I got to get all this gear and I got to do this and I got to do that. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this is your life now.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life, you will now be broke from hunting.
Yeah.
Every penny you make is going to go towards something to do with hunting.
Yes.
taxidermy payments.
Yeah.
Yep.
Butcher bills.
Butcher bills, hunt trip payments, and then you
Gear.
get caught up in the, well, I've never hunted this over in this country before. How much does that cost? Well, I'll start putting money away every month for that. And then you got buddies, sheep guy,
Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he buys a hunt to like Kyrgyzstan or something like that, and he's going to shoot ibex. He goes, dude, you want to go shoot? He's got a Marco Polo. You want to go shoot a Marco Polo? And I'm like, yeah, of course I want to shoot a Marco Polo. But a Marco Polo is like $50,000. And I'm like, my wife would freaking murder me, dude.
But it would be sweet.
It would be. And that guy, that dude, he's such an awesome dude. I know I would have the best time ever,
yeah.
But I'm like, dude, I just paved the driveway. The front of my house is missing all the siding right now.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. So,
Dude, it's a full. Not only is it a time commitment, but it's a huge financial commitment.
massive. But it is, dude. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No, me either.
Like, what else would we do with our money? Collect stamps?
Dude, when I see guys that like have like no hobbies and they like I don't know what they do, play video games.
Why are you looking at me? I don't play video games.
All I can think is like how it's just it makes me feel bad for him because
Dude.
it's like you're missing this
They're missing out.
huge awesome experience and adventure of your life by not participating in this.
Well, it's like what we always say. It's in our DNA.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I can't imagine life without it. So
yeah.
it's in my DNA.
if I don't have it, then I guess that's the end.
If I can't have it, I'm going to take it.
Doug's like, geez, it's getting dark.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to end it on that note.
It's in our DNA.
It's in our DNA.
It is who we are, man.
I mean, we made a damn podcast around it, so.
You can't fight it. I can't fight it.
No.
No.
And if you do, you just end up miserable,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Go put yourself in a concrete
I
box
just
in a
don't.
concrete city.
I don't know what I would do with myself
No.
if.
You'd probably be down there in L.A. doing weird protests and lighting cop cars on fire, Doug.
Doug, you get a hot bite.
Who
if you did
knows?
that.
Those guys definitely don't hunt.
No, they definitely do not hunt.
Bunch of weirdos.
Guaranteed, they don't hunt. Shame on those people. It's good times, Doug.
All right, we better bring this one home,
I
Doug.
guess with that note, we're gonna bring this one to an end. We'll thank our sponsors, even though James had a hilarious comment at the end of that one. You're not gonna appreciate it. Next time, guys, stay humble and hunt hard.